sure you've heard of it. So I didn't invent it. I'm not trying to sell it, okay? I'm just telling you about it because I know it works. It's the one I'm popular with. Ketogenic, you've heard of the ketogenic diet? No, okay. I know you have, and I know you have. Okay. Ketogenic diet is very simple. It's virtually no carbohydrates, okay? So less than 50 grams a day from indirect sources. And by an indirect source, I mean like fibrous vegetables, greens and stuff like that. Not bread and pasta and potato and rice, okay? So very low. It's high protein, which is great for building muscle, okay? And it's moderate fats, okay? Which, as we've explained, protein and fats are essential to your body. Okay, so this is a performance version, the one which I prescribe, because the normal ketogenic diet is very much like the old Atkins diet. Yeah, totally. You did. How did you get on with that then?
I did lose weight at first, but it was just like, I didn't like eating all the protein, stuff, all the meat.
What were you eating?
Chicken, fish.
Yeah.
It's quite obvious. It did work for a while, but then it's like, I like the other stuff.
You missed it, okay, yeah. So the Atkins diet, I think, as we know, is super popular and that, but the way the Atkins diet was programmed, it didn't really regulate any numbers. It didn't really give you an idea of what you should be looking to hit. It was about just drop the weight. Whatever fat you want, get your fat in, brush your teeth in lard, eat bacon, sausage, everything, just cut carbs out, okay. Whereas this version, this is performance related. So because we know protein is essential for building muscle, it's high protein, it's moderate fats, because we only need so much of it, and it's low carbs, because we don't need loads of carbs, and I've explained it before. Although we love carbs, and we're designed to consume carbs, the body doesn't need carbohydrates, okay. Who drives? You all drive, okay. Do you ever drive with the orange light on? You know, for petrol? You all like to be full, what about you? Yeah, okay. So when you're driving with the orange light on, does your car still run? Yeah, if anything, it's actually more efficient. It's lighter, it accelerates faster because there's a volume counted to how much fuel weighs. If you don't have it in, then just because you don't have it full and you only have a little bit in on your car, for example, doesn't mean that it's not going to go the same speed or anything like that. And that's the way you can possibly try and look at carbohydrates, okay? You only need a little bit of them for you to run optimally, okay? Anything else, as I'll explain to you with hormones later on, it just gets shuttled away and stored, and if you don't burn it off regular exercise, and that just gets converted into fat, and that's why we get fat, even though people will say, oh, I eat really healthy, I eat rice and everything like that. You eat too much of it, okay? So the other reason that this is good as well is because it's regulated, 5 meals for women, 6 for men. So you know, as Sophie's been saying, every 3 hours, you need to be getting something, okay? Now, when we drop carbohydrates out of the body, essentially bring it all the way down, this hormone, insulin, okay, now virtually is non-existent in the body, okay? Now, what insulin is used for is shuttling sugar from the blood, okay, and sticking it into cells, into muscle cells, okay, and creating energy. And what happens with insulin is that if we get far too much carbohydrates in the body and that, then too much insulin can come out into the body, and this is where we can lead into the likes of diabetes and things like that. In most diabetes, for type 2 diabetes, when people are drastically overweight, it's because they've ate so many carbs and that, and there's only so much space in the cells for it to go. So because it can't go in there, it gets shuttled off and it gets stored as body fat, okay? So from a hormonal perspective, being able to keep insulin really low down is great for men and especially women as well, okay? And the reason it's good is because if we don't have any insulin floating around in the body, we don't get those cravings because there's no sugar in the blood, because when carbohydrates comes into your body, it gets converted into sugar, okay? So if we've got very little carbohydrates, okay, we've got very little sugar, therefore very little insulin, very little feelings of I feel hungry, I feel irritable, okay? And what happens when insulin drops down, there's another hormone gets released in your body called growth hormone. And growth hormone is responsible for you looking pretty and your hair looking nice and shiny and your nails growing strong and everything like that. So if we can create a diet or an environment for your body where you're getting all the protein you need, okay, you're getting the essential fats, you're keeping insulin low, you're not taking on lots of carbohydrates, so you're not storing water, okay, and you've got growth hormone floating around in your body, then it's a great environment for you cosmetically, but also physically, because you're actually getting everything that your body needs, okay. Now, like a car, the brain can switch like a hybrid car. So the cars that's on the road that are electric and petrol, okay, your brain's exactly the same. So as I said to you before, when you're born, you're predisposed for sugar. Just call it sugar, there's all different terms. Your brain wants sugar, it wants carbohydrates. So in the ketogenic diet, the thing with ketogenic is, after about 72 hours, okay, when we've starved the body from carbohydrates, okay, and it's going to keep sending signals to you saying, feed us carbohydrates, you resist that, like a hybrid car, it switches from fuel to fat, okay, and we've all got body fat in the body. So now what you're providing your body is an unlimited source of fuel. And because it's unlimited, unlike carbohydrates, when it's used and sugar drops down low and that and it's not there, and the brain starts sending signals out saying, feed us, feed us, feed us, come on, you're getting pissed off, because you've got fat flowing all the time to use, and you're using body fat now sitting there because it's not aggressive exercise you're doing, okay? Because you've always got fat in your body, and your body's always fueled, and you never get those feelings of irritation. I'm going to kill somebody if I don't get a biscuit. You don't get those cravings, okay? So this particular diet it's a really, really successful diet. But it can be a struggle for a lot of people because they think, well, how can I live without carbohydrates? But as long as you get past 3 or 4 days in that, you'll find it's a really good diet. And again, as I said to you before about carbs stores water in your body, okay? So from a female perspective as well, from a cosmetically, it's great because you'll take water away from your hips and from your abdomen. Your cheekbones will come in a little bit tighter than that. You'll feel loads better. So Brad can maybe speak to you about that, or you can ask me questions on that. So do you want to run through any questions you've got about that section that we've covered off there? Maybe there's any more before we move on. No. We can cover anything off at the end.
What do you think about that diet? What's your...
It sounds good.
Because everything that we used to, and then changing it to something like that is, that's where the struggle is, isn't it?
There's a lot of carbs and things that, like you might have the other fruit, it's like a lot of that is carbs.
Everything.
And that's what you're right, like using the likes of MyFitnessPal in a modern environment is really good, because ketogenic diet, the performance one, is less than 50 grams of carbs a day. How the hell do you know what 50 grams of carbs are? So it is a little bit important that at the start you might want to research the fruit, but the diet's laid out for you. It's dead simple, like it's easy to follow, yeah. Okay. Anybody heard of If It Fits Your Macros?
No, because I'm terrible for it. Was terrible for it.
Okay.
If I needed some fat, I would just have some chocolate because it was sweet one. In the past, so I would look at my fitness pal and think,
100 calories of donuts.
Yeah.
yes.
Have you heard of it too or not? Have you heard of If It Fits Your Macros? Okay. So pretty much what the guys are saying here is, we just use yourself as an example, 1,300 calories a day. What If It Fits Your Macros style of dieting means is that all calories are equal, so just get 1,300 calories in. So what it's saying is, essentially, is that if a chicken breast was 100 calories, for example, and a Snickers bar was 100 calories, then they're the same. So if you just need to get 1,300 calories in, you're going to have 13 Snickers bars. That is actually the science behind it. The real magic behind it is using your brain. It's just giving you a number to account for, right? 1,300 calories. Okay, I'll try and add it up. I'll use MyFitnessPal or whatever, or I'll circa get there. I don't believe it's a good diet. Again, I'm not employed by anybody to say don't use this diet. It's just a public domain diet, but it's just open for abuse because all calories are not the same. And I'll tell you how calories break down now. So a calorie in fat, in protein, so there's 4 calories in every 1 gram of those macronutrients. Okay. In carbs, there's 7 grams. So 7 calories, sorry. So in 1 gram, you've got 4 calories, 7 calories. Okay. So you will be able to eat more and feel fuller on protein and fats than you would carbs, because each gram is worth a higher amount. Okay. So if it fits your macros, so some thoughts on it from my perspective. The good thing, I think, is it teaches you some tracking. The bad thing, as we've said there, is that people just think all calories are the same, and they're not. So if you come across that on Facebook, any social media, I would just be aware of that one. Right, hormones. Testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, insulin, and growth hormone. We've covered a couple of them, but we'll go into more detail. So, anybody know what testosterone does? Testosterone is what makes me essentially a man and Brad a man. So figures meaning nothing, about 90% of my chemical makeup and Brad's is testosterone. Flip that round, you girls are like 90% estrogen. Okay, this is your main hormone. Okay, so testosterone is the building block of muscle essentially. Okay, the reason I'm mentioning this to you is because a lot of women, not you guys though, are scared of lifting weights because they think they're going to get big and bulky and things like that. Okay, but you're not, because you don't have testosterone in your body. And how many guys have you seen at gyms who've been training for years and they don't even look big and bulky? Yeah, this is really hard to put muscle on. It's even harder for women. Okay, but it's actually easy if you get your nutrition right. So because you've got a low amount of testosterone, okay, and it's going to be longer for you to build that muscle, okay, that durational period that you're doing all this exercise is making your muscles tighter and firmer in that toned look that is quite popular. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you that is I don't want you to be fearful of picking up something heavier than a 2 kilogram dumbbell. Okay, if you want to build muscle, and Brad will direct you on that, then you don't have enough testosterone. And if you've ever seen women on Instagram or on YouTube that are ripped to shreds with massive muscles, it's because they'll be taking anabolic steroids, testosterone, or they'll be taking estrogen inhibitors. And if your estrogen's inhibited, your body pituitary gland will naturally increase testosterone. Okay. Cortisol. Does anybody know what cortisol is or what it does? You're all learning loads today, aren't you? Cortisol, yeah, cortisol is a stress hormone. It is a very, very dangerous hormone, but it's in us all. If you're stressed at home, you're stressed at work, in life, whatever, cortisol is just going to flood your body. And what cortisol does is it stops all the other good things happening, like your body utilizing fat or burning fat or building muscle. It's what we call catabolic. Just think cannibalism, okay? So what it's going to do is it's going to tear your body down and slow it down. Whereas testosterone, okay, in protein and fats, are what we call anabolic. Okay, that means the building muscle. Don't think of anabolic as anabolic steroids, as most people do, okay? It's just the terminology given, okay? Cortisol is something that I encourage everybody to try and control, and whether that's taking a 2-minute checkout at work, your husband, boyfriend, whatever, pissing you off and you're walking away from it. These are all things, even getting stressed on social media, these are all things which are going to flood your body with cortisol, and you can control it only if you choose to walk away from it. Okay, and maybe you might want to have some thought processes when you're talking later or whatever, with stressful situations and how you can get out of them, because they will inhibit your goals massively. Insulin, as we've sort of covered, insulin is responsible, it's released from the pancreas, okay, and it is responsible for taking The sugar from the blood and shuttling it is energy into your cells, okay? But if we're flooding the body with too much shit, okay, too much sugar, too much cereal, too much carbohydrates and everything, and your pancreas, okay, is going to have to work super hard, okay? And this is where diabetes comes out, because it's trying to flood the body with insulin, and there's only so much storage facility in the cells. And as I said to you before, tries to push more nutrients into the cells, and your cells gone, look, there's no space, piss off, you're going to have to go in there. The problem is it's not just sugar, it's minerals and vitamins and all the health benefits. So that's why a lot of people who are drastically overweight with diabetes, etc., start to get glaucoma, and start to get bad skin diseases and everything, because the cells have shut off and they can't get the insulin can't shuttle the nutrition into the cells. And growth hormone, as I mentioned before, that's prevalent in us all. It's generally released mainly at night time when you're asleep. That's when it's so important to get great sleep. Now, exactly, I sleep about 5 or 6 hours a night, but because of my job, I can nap during the day. It's not ideal. The ideal scenario is 7 or 8 hours a night. Whoever gets that, I don't know. But a relaxed, rapid eye movement sleep will encourage more growth hormone stimulus into your body, which means you're going to have better nails, better hair, and coupled with all the right nutrition, it's going to give you them results a lot better. Little tips you've probably seen is shut down an hour before you go to bed. Make sure if your phone supports it, put it on the nightshade mode and everything, so you're not blasting your eyes wide open, stuff like that. Right, that is essentially the main things I wanted to go through. Do you want to run through any questions? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Don't feel like you've got to ask a question.
I don't have any questions about it yet. So, ketogenic diet, so they sent us a document basically, and it outlines what he said, so how many grams of fat and how many grams of protein and carbohydrates you should have in your body weight. So, doing it basically, I'm getting all my carbs from green beans.
So before that, were you on a high carb diet, or were you taking a lot of carbs?
The calorie counter for years, if it fits your macros, but in a terrible relationship, so not a terrible relationship with food, if Chris gets this. I would think, I'm at work, I think I'll have a bar of chocolate with me, cuppa, and I'll think, I've got my calories on the table, it doesn't matter, because I've got chocolate, and then I'm sitting starving and chewing myself up about it, but on the ketogenic diet, and honestly, I am the biggest binger in the world, and I've not been tempted at all. I'm full all the time. It's just become a habit now, and I promise 2 weeks ago I was if it fits in my rules, and I would have this if it fit in my have anything I wanted. I've started now.
So how did you transition? How did you feel? So say the first few days with going on a keto diet, how did that make you feel?
First couple of days I felt
cravings,
I was hungry, I was quite lethargic. I'm a terrible researcher, so I did research into it and I knew what to expect. I just tried to keep busy. Maybe the first couple of days I did struggle in the gym. Probably about day 4, I woke up with like a newfound energy. In the gym I was fine. I was terrified without having carbs. I was like on the lift.
You didn't have any energy for it.
Yeah, how am I going to do it? And it suddenly just gets better and easier. And I'm not hungry. Normally now, you sit there thinking, come on, hurry up, I'm starving. I'm not hungry right now. I will be due food very soon, but yeah. I'll be honest, I don't weigh myself because of the relationship I've had with food. But I do feel better. I don't feel as puffy.
A lot more energy through the days when
you're 100%, yeah. I'm drinking less coffee. Anyone that knows us will know that's a miracle. So I can't recommend it.
So what about meal prep then? How do you do any meal prep at home?
Like every night I plan I'm going to eat at work the next day and it does my head in.
What does your head in?
Like having to prepare everything every night.
Okay, so you've got to do that tonight when you go home?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Oh no, I've already done it.
Okay, so what would it usually look like then? How do you prepare your meals and that? What do you think about and stuff? How do you do it? Okay, so you plan what you're going to eat. Okay, then what? You cook it
Yeah.
and you box it up. What about you, Sue?
Well, I don't work now, so that's when I've like been finished for a year, so I found that hard because when I used to go to work, I would have what I'd taken. I was very good and like this as well, planning would do it. So I've kind of struggled a little bit like since we've been at home because it's the biscuits and stuff's more already there. My husband will just have rubbish or whatever.
Well, it's a good point that, okay, because I'm gonna come on to how I meal prep. You might get some tips from it, okay, but that point you made is good, and I coined the phrase a couple of years ago. Have you ever heard the phrase, of course you've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Yeah. So we coined that, you are what you buy. If you physically go to the shops and buy it, you're eating it. Because if I said, give us a tenner now and stick it in the bin, you'd be like, are you crazy? But it's exactly the same. And it's difficult when you live at, do you still live at home, Zoe, do you? Yeah, it's difficult if you two ladies and that are on a real regiment, and then your husband's just like, where's the cakes? Well, there you go. Yeah, so that's a struggle that you've got to try and come up with to try and get over on that. But if you buy it, you're going to eat it like, yeah, you are what you buy. Right, so I'll run through some tips that how I prepare my food. So I cook my food when I'm asleep. I do. So I use an electric wall timer. Okay. So I have a rice cooker due to come on like 4:30 in the morning because I set that up at night time. I put my chicken and a bit of red meat on my George Foreman. I go to bed and then they're on wall timers. So when I get up in the morning, it's cooked for the day. Don't even have to think about it. All I need to do is clean it and scoop it in. Veg I don't buy any fresh veg. I buy frozen veg from Aldi, green beans or mixed veg and stuff. And the amount of veg I want in the night time, I just take out the freezer, put it in a bowl, and in the morning it's defrosted. They go in 3 or 4 Tupperwares, bit of salt, bit of pepper, soy sauce, olive oil, whatever I'm using at the time, and there's my meals for the day. And it's probably took us 15 minutes to apportion it, wash it up, and I'm ready to go. It's as simple as that. So that's what I do. This is what I eat during the day. So I get up at 5 in the morning. It used to be 4, but I get up at 5. I have an espresso, walk the dogs. Breakfast, I have 6 whole eggs at 20 to 6, and at the minute it's probably about 50 or 75 grams of oats. And then 8 o'clock, I'll have some rice, veg and chicken. And then probably the same at about 11 o'clock. And then at 2 o'clock I'll have the same, but I'll have tuna. After I've trained, I'll have a protein shake, which is generally about 4:30. And then I'll have some clients, and then at probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'll have 4 lean beef burgers with veg and a bit of peanut butter. And then probably about 9:30, 10, I'll have a little bit of Greek yogurt and I'll have some peanut butter. That's generally about 4,000 calories. Easy 350 grams of protein. Now if you imagine though, I don't have a sedentary job, so I walk my dogs 2 or 3 times. I'm training people, that's quite energetic. I train myself, I pretty much walk everywhere. So like I need that, but my body is set in a metabolic furnace that for 2 or 3 days now, if I half those meals, I guarantee I lose about 6 pounds. I've got to keep eating all the time. The only reason I'm telling you that is that with the tips on how to make your food and regular eating, it's quite easy to hit your goals. It's just hard to get your head round, Sue, really, isn't it? Yeah, especially when there's Rocky Robbins in the house and things like that. Yeah. Okay, I think that's probably enough from, that's an hour, like, that's enough from what I've said. Is there anything you want to question or you want to cover off and stuff like that again? Is there anything that you've learned that you think you can take away, possibly?
Just getting it right, and then that's it.
Do you know what's helped me? And they told us this when I went to Seoul. So my fitness pal, you put your weight in, you put your calories in, and it just tells you what to eat. You can't just manually adjust it. So I've worked out what I need through the keto plan, and you can just adjust it. So if I go with my macros now, I can see. Yeah. So mine will say I think I've had 35 grams out. Yeah, I would have 50, but if you do want to track it, then you need to make sure you're getting enough protein. That's the best way that I
I think that's a good point. Might be good for you, Zoe. I think MyFitnessPal is great if you're quite new to monitoring your intake, because it's going to tell you one or two things. You're not eating enough, you're eating too much. Now for me, I'll use it maybe once every couple of months, and I'll do a full day of eating on social media, and I'll track everything, so I can just say to people, this is what I ate. I'm not talking shit for a living. This is how I eat, and here's the proof of it. And I'll screenshot everything. But what I'd say is, if you can get your head round a rhythmic phase of eating, then leave MyFitnessPal alone, because you start to get in a rhythm. You know what good food looks like. You know it's time to eat. You know the meal looks pretty much the same size as yesterday, and that you can get bogged down on MyFitnessPal, okay? And say, for example, today you're 400 calories down. I'm not saying that he's got you on a regimen plan, but for me, I'd be like, okay, we'll just go and do an extra 400 calories tomorrow, because across the week's what's important. Like, daily differences isn't really going to make that much difference, but if you were 400 calories down every day at the end of the week, I think you're in problems. But if you're 400 calories down today, let's make sure you get another 400 calories on top of 1300 tomorrow and balance it out. I call that calorie bouncing. So it's just going across the week, bouncing the calories around and not stressing about it. Because if you are really stressing about it, he's getting released into your system, and cortisol is just going to stop everything that's from working. Like, you know, they're actually quite simple things, but unless you know about them, you don't know how they can benefit you, like, you know.
I think my problem is not knowing what to eat. So like, if I haven't ever enough, I think, yeah, I should eat more, but I don't know what to eat, and I don't want to just eat crap, so then I just think, well, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, in something as simple as, well, talk us through proteins again, just quickly. Tell us what you think good proteins are. Say that again. Okay, well, go on, break it down. What are lean meats? Chicken, yeah. 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 You can get lean cuts of steak, yeah. 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 Add some more. Salmon and fish, so tuna. Okay, 1 to 7 now. Okay, well, we'll take that off, but they do, okay, we'll take that off. Cottage cheese. Yeah. Okay. Protein bars. Okay. You can do chicken 5 different ways, because you can just go and get some rubs, you know, some taco rubs and stuff. Have salt, put extra virgin olive oil. My extra virgin olive oil, I've got a little funnel, and I put chili seeds in it, and I put different types in different ones, and they ferment over weeks and weeks. So every time when I need to get me essential fats in, I'm just drizzling the olive oil. And always put your olive oil on your food after it's cooked. Don't cook your food in olive oil, because olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil, has what's called a low smoke point, which means at a very low temperature, the goodness will evaporate out of it. Yeah. And a lot of people do cook the chicken and everything in extra virgin olive oil, and actually you've just got nothing at the end of it. You put it on after, and then you get all those essential fats that you need and stuff like that. Yeah. But you do know what to eat, because you just told us. It's about planning ahead.
And that doesn't mean I do. If I've been out all day and I don't get in until like 8 o'clock, it's so annoying having to stand and then prepare everything for the next day.
Why is Mum not doing it? Yeah, you do know what to eat. I think you're overthinking it and making it more difficult. Like, you know, you do know what to eat. Preparing it after getting in can be hard. So I've had that scenario quite a few times where I've come in, maybe my day hasn't went to the plan it's went. I've come in, got to walk the dogs, starving. But I look at food differently. It's fuel for me. It's different. I'll just do 6 scrambled eggs. I'm done. I've got my protein, I've got my fats. Now I feel like I've ate. Rather than having to try and spin plates and thinking, right, how can I make the best looking meal you've ever seen on Instagram? It's 8:30 at night. What am I going to do? Get something simple in. I need protein. How can I get it in? I need fats. Right, I'll make an omelette. I'll scramble my eggs in the microwave. I don't care what it looks like. You might want to do a spinach omelette or something, and you need your protein, your calories. It is that easy, honestly. I know it sounds like you're just saying it's easy. It is that easy if you look at food slightly differently. Don't forget as well, to enjoy your life once or twice a week and have your cheat meals. Do you do that? Yeah. What's your favourite?
I don't know. I can pick a favourite, depends what mood I'm in. I love like sweet stuff.
Okay.
I like having chocolate.
Okay. So do you treat yourself maybe once or twice a week?
I'm not going to have like the calories left, so it's a bag of crisps and then
Okay.
biscuits. I'm a bit like that.
You?
Pizza.
Pizza. So probably your approach isn't a great approach.
No. Even when I'm slim as well, I kind of do my meals like I should, but the sins I never properly counted.
Listen, that's what I mean. That's what I was saying on Slimming World, so you can save your sins and you get into, like, you program yourself to think, I have a chocolate bar on a night, I know I can have some Doritos on a night, and because
It's mental.
allows that.
It's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I'm not saying you be as regimented as me or possibly Brad or some other people in that, but to get regimentation in eating habits is going to be a real key to success. So again, your goal in 4 weeks' time is to start traveling the world. For me, my goal is to get through 6.5 days of eating clean, and then on that half day left, I'm just going to eat for England. I'm going to eat what I want. So I've got mental stimulus there to say get there, because when you get there, you're going to love it. But also, if you think about your metabolic rate, and it's just sitting like that, and if it just keeps sitting like that for weeks and weeks and weeks, then you're in a world of hurt. Getting this cheat meal in once a week, okay, or for some people twice a week, takes your metabolism, throws it up, brings it back down, and your body's like, Christ, I've got to get going again, burning those wheels and everything, okay. But the most important thing is that reward element. If you're rewarding yourself every day with crisps or whatever, then you've done 7 to 8 bags of crisps in across the week, and you can't really look at yourself in the mirror and say, why am I not changing? Do you know what I'm saying? It's about accountability, like, you know, just how bad you want it. Like, you don't have to live like a Buddhist monk. You're a human being. You've worked all your life in that.
No, but then that's what I did. So this plan, have a cheat meal, literally now, at the start of every week, I say to my boyfriend Chris, what want a cheat meal this week, and we know what day,
Yeah.
and what we always have it last meal of the day. So I'll either have it on a Friday or a Sunday, try and keep it the same. And honestly, I've never enjoyed a pizza so much in my life when it comes to have it, and then when it comes to Monday again, I think, well, this is alright because I'm going to have pizza again on Friday or Sunday.
Yeah.
And it kind of mentally, and on the menu, I pick what I'm going to have. Like, it just helps me get through the week.
So the thing is, you get satisfied after you've had that cheat meal,
Yeah.
but you actually want to go back to your
The
diet that's
danger
working for you as well. So yeah, you don't actually start craving again, do you?
No, because I think either I can have this in moderation and then get straight back on it and still get my goals. So it's like it's a reward, but in a good way, rather than thinking at the end of every time have chocolate or crisps.
What were you going to say, Sue? There's a danger of what?
That's what happens sometimes. I'm good for so long, and then you have that day when you have something, and it doesn't become one meal. It becomes like a whole bad day, and it continues. But then your body feels horrible.
It does feel horrible, and there's a way around that, and that's by having your cheat meal as your sort of semi-last meal of the day. Because if you go out early in the day and that, and you know, the day is shot. You've shit on the day. But you're right, because if I go on a food bender for a couple of days, I'll just feel like shit. And that's great. That's a little reminder for your body, you know. But you're entitled to that. Just don't do it all the time, you know. And one of the secrets, I wrote an article on my website last year, and that was one of the secrets to sort of getting in shape and everything, was having the right people around you. So it was a bit clickbaity. People thought, oh, it's a new diet, wow, what's this, like, you know. But it's not about having the right people around you. And we all know those people, like, just have another one, go and have a donut, what's the matter with you? Yeah, the feelers, yeah, they're just jealous of you, yeah. So eliminating yourself into a more conducive circle of acquaintances and that who are pro you is better for you, yeah. All right?
Appreciate it.
Okay. So are you on social media at all? Are you on Instagram and stuff like that? You're on Instagram as well? Facebook? Old school. You're on everything. Yeah. I'll give you my business card, not because I'm trying to get business from you, but my social media's on there. I do videos on there all the time. I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I need to upload some others. I've got 20 videos across my Instagram. They're on my Facebook. They will take a while to get, but I'll put them all on YouTube in a couple of days, and they're called Gone in 60 Seconds. and it's just me, 60 seconds talking about something. So I do one on protein, one on fats, one on carbs, and loads of different stuff and that, like, you know. I do post some random stuff, but it's just like I'm pro people. So if you wouldn't mind following us on there, I'll follow you back. I've got a website, all my details are on there, there's articles on there, and if, like, for me, it's a continuing relationship. So while I don't step on his toes, but if you did have a question and Brad couldn't answer it, you're welcome to come to me and ask it, like, you know. All right?
About your diet plan, so you're on Lee's diet plan at the moment.
I am.
I don't know if you want to have a look at it, and just to sort of get your head around it and see you don't know what to eat. If you've got something in front of you, you know, there's stuff that we talk about, but if it's on paper for you and it's all good to go, and you know, Lee's diet plan at the moment.
Well, I do you ever listen to podcasts or anything like that? You know what they are, don't you? Yeah, okay. So I do podcasts as well, and you can access them on my website. And the latest one, which I don't expect you to remember, but Brad can follow it up, is podcast 6. It is essentially about the ketogenic diet and stuff, and more detail behind it and why it's good and stuff like that. But I can fire that all to Brad and he can fire it on to you, like, you know. All right?
Appreciate it. Thanks very much, Nate.
It's a wrap.